You need to translate big blocks of data, and sometimes for efficiency reasons you would like to have them all grouped in one big table and translate the table at once. Or maybe you're gathering dynamic information like RSS feeds and you would like to have those informations translated on the fly. Well, in this and many other cases, the use of the Google Translate app or the translate.google.com webpage are not sufficient. Stay with me in this tutorial and learn about the Google Translate function in Google Sheets. At the end of the tutorial, I will also share with you one file that I created, and you can feel free to get a copy of it and use it at your liking. Let's start now by reviewing the syntax of Google Translate, the function that helps us translating text from one language into another. Like for any function, you will need to start in by typing the equal sign, followed by Google Translate, and then opening a parenthesis, you will start in typing the text that you want to translate, the source language, and the target language, and then you will close the parenthesis. Now, the text that you want to translate can either be a text that you're entering in the formula, enclosed in quotation marks, or it can be a reference to a cell containing the appropriate text. Following the text, you will need to enter the 2-letter language codes for the source language and the target language. To make our exercise easy to follow, I gathered these codes into the sheet called Language Codes. In here you will find on the column A the name of the language, and then on the column B the code of the language. With the exceptions of English, Portuguese, and Chinese, each language will only have a 2-digit code, while for English, Portuguese, and Chinese, depending on the countries where this language are spoken, you will have longer codes. Let's see now the Google Translate function in action in the work file. In here, I pre-populated a file with the text that I would like to translate from English into French, Italian, and Spanish. Also, on the row number 6, I added the 2-digit codes for each of the languages. Let's plug in the formula and see what will be the result. And we start with the equal, and then we will type in Google Translate, followed by the cell A3, the text that I would like to translate, comma, and then the source language. In our case, the text will be translated from English, so quotation mark, en, and then closing the quotation marks, comma again, and I will need now to enter the target language. In our case, it will be FR for France. So quotation marks again, FR, closing quotation marks, and closing parentheses. Now I'm hitting enter, and the text will be translated. Let's now use the information from the cells with regards to the source and the target language. Let's type in again the formula, equal Google Translate, and then we are translating the text that is in here, A3, comma, the source language will be English, en, and we will use this cell as a reference, and then the next will be this column, C6, as a reference for the Italian language. I am closing the parentheses and I will hit enter. From here on, we can play a bit more with the formula and we can change either the target language or the text to translate. Let's say that instead of Italian, I would like here to translate it in Spanish. I'm just changing the code of the language in the reference cell, and once I'm hitting enter, the text will be updated on the cell C3 based on the target language that I have here on the C6. Let's move it back to Italian and let's change the text from the text to translate. And let's say that we would like to write I love chocolate. Once this text is changed, it is also changed in all the translation. So the French J'aime le chocolat is now the translation of the new text that is in cell A3, and then amo il cioccolato will be the Italian way of saying I love chocolate. We've seen now the basics of using Google Translate formula in Google Sheets and translate text from one language to another. I promised in the beginning of the video that I will share with you a file that I created for easy translation in Google Sheets. And let's spend a moment and run through the file to know what to expect and to understand how this file was made. First of all, you should only change the information in the light blue cells. The rest of the file, especially on the table area, is having formulas that will help doing the translations. How to change the information? First, for the languages, you have some drop-down menus. I selected these drop-down menus because they are containing all the languages that are today covered by Google Translate. So, for instance, in this case, we are translating from English US into French, Spanish, Russian, Dutch, and Chinese. If you would like to change any of these languages, for instance, you want to change the Spanish into Italian, all you have to do is empty the cell and then start typing the name of the language that you want to use. In this case, Italian, select Italian, and that's it. The table will be automatically updated and your text will be translated into the language of your choice. Now on the left hand side, you can enter all the text that you would like to translate, or you can send references to external text or to RSS feeds, or however you would like to play with this information. Here you will need to get the text. You need to make sure that the translate from language is in line with the language of this text, and then feel free to use the entire file. And now, before closing this tutorial, I would like to share with you the final look of the formula I'm using. Let's take this line, the line 13, where we will have a translation of the text in A13, and then for the source language, I'm using a VLOOKUP that will look after the name of the language that we set in the translate from, and it will pick the code of the language. So it is looking for this cell, B8 cell, in language codes, and then it will take the second column, and that is the code. And then it is the same formula on the right hand side for the target, and in this case it will take the language that you have here on the header of the table. It will look into the language codes. It will take again the information from the second column, the column with the code. I'm using also the if error function just to make sure that, especially in the files, in the lines where you don't have information yet, you're not getting the value error that you would get without using the if error function. If you liked this tutorial and you would like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to the channel as I'm adding new content on a weekly basis. If you liked the file that I shared with you, please go in the description down below and check the link that will guide you towards the place where you can grab a copy and use it on your Google Drive. See you on the next one.